Etepu, assalamu alaikum, namaste, Haru Nefer. This is Kasak Keperu with a special class for today. And in this class, we're going to be talking about our six-figure PM class. Now, as you know, this is a program that I offer for individuals looking to really like upscale their lives and get a six-figure high-paying job. Now, this program is a 6-week program that you can get involved in, and it'll teach you how to be a digital project manager. All right. And what that is basically a project manager who um, builds websites, builds iPad apps or mobile apps. So this is something that's very, very creative, and you get to work with different companies, different agencies, and whatnot. And it's really a alternative solution for those who want to make a lot of money, but they don't want to learn like coding and programming, which could take a couple of years just to become proficient at it. So what I offer is a way of getting into the digital arena, which is of course the wave of the future, by way of a project manager. Now, this field is relatively, it's not new, but it's not well known. And a lot of people are not aware of it. And most importantly, is a lot of people are not aware of the fact that you could make a lot of money in this field. You know, what we do is we try to start everybody out because we do have job placement, start everybody out at least making 100,000 a year, and then you can move up to 250,000 if you want to be like director, or 250 to 300,000 if you want to be like director of project management and things of that nature. But the great thing is it offers a lot of flexibility because you can work as a, a employee or a contract employee. And I usually, when I have worked, I've done contract. And the reason for that is because it allows you to be very, very flexible, meaning you could work 2 or 3 months and take the rest of the year off, or you could just work part-time. And you can also state your hours. So you could work if you want, 6 hours a day, 4 hours a day. And there's an opportunity for travel. So because you'll be doing this, well, I won't say totally remote, but a lot of companies now are hiring people just to do remote. So that's great. So that means you can go basically to any state or any country you want to go. Like I was in Colombia for a while, and I worked remotely there, and it's not a problem. As long as you have internet connection, you can work anywhere in the world you want to. And because it's such a high paying job, even for the States, when you go overseas, it's like, wow, the people there see you as a millionaire. So this is like an untapped market. Too many people are focused on the difficult way to go around things, like go about things, excuse me. They're like, well, I'll learn coding. I'm telling you that's a lot to learn. And you're competing against people who've had 5, 10 years of experience coding. So for example, if I wanted to learn, let's say PHP or Cold Fusion, it would take me probably, if I'm really dedicated, a year to learn it and at least 3 years to be proficient. But I'm competing against people who have that 5 and 10 years experience, even 20 years experience or whatever. So it's not the best way to go about things. Whereas a project management, you don't have to learn any code. You just have to be, in fact, there's no real codes or platforms you need to know. You just have to be good at organizing. You have to be a people person. You have to be good at multitasking. And that's what they're looking for, essentially. Yeah, of course, there are some programs that you should know. And these are, basically scheduling programs. They're very simple. They're not complex as learning Cold Fusion. And with project management, it's all about how good you are and not necessarily the amount of experience you've accumulated. Because if you're good at, like I said, multitasking and people person, That's what they're looking for. They're not looking for how many years you've coded. Now, recently, people have got into the cybersecurity arena, and I've told people that's probably not the best route to go either. But everybody wants to jump in there because they know you could start out making at least 120,000 and go up. And by the way, I did put out, and I'll make it available to everyone by putting a link in the description, all of these jobs out there and the salaries that they're paying for these jobs, so you can get an understanding of the market. So working in cybersecurity, not only do you have to learn certain codes, but again, it takes a number of years to become proficient at it. So if you're thinking that's the easy way to go about things, you'll make a lot of money. Like I know one gentleman who went to university to study cybersecurity, and that's great. I'm not gonna discount that and say, oh no, don't do that. But when he graduated, he was so proud with his certificate. And I'm like, or I should say diploma. Let me not disrespect that by saying certificate, but his diploma. I'm like, yeah, but still you're competing against people who've had 5 and 10 years experience in cybersecurity. So you still got a long way to go. And when you're talking about the security arena, there's all kinds of background checks they want to do on you. So it's a lot to go through just to get your first job, and then there also are other certificates that you should acquire along with your degree in cybersecurity. You don't have to have a degree. You can just study cybersecurity and get certified in that. But again, still, why should they pick you when somebody's coming with 10 years experience in that field? And cybersecurity is not easy. Don't let anybody fool you into thinking it's easy and quick to get a lot of money in that arena. So, this is what I've told people. And now what we found out is the market has changed now, because every now and then, I don't care what field you're in, there's a pivot. And this is a very, very important thing that has just recently happened that affects digital project managers. And they also call them digital producers. I like that word, producer, better. But now AI, artificial intelligence, has come into the picture. And now these agencies, along with you being a project manager, they want to know if you have any AI prompt engineering skills. So what that is are you fluent in working with GTP or any other AI platform? And those are now important because when you're dealing with these AI platforms, you can now create documents such as a scope of work, a project plan, a creative brief. You can also now design a website with images and all that through AI. So now this has really changed the arena. Project managers are now learning how to work and incorporate AI into their project management skills. But here, here's the thing about this now. This whole thing with the AI coming into this in ChatGPT is that you don't have to learn a bunch of stuff. It's really user friendly, and it's great. When you start using it, it's not cumbersome. You'll enjoy incorporating that aspect into your project management skills. So, and it makes you more valuable as a person in the market when you have these ancillary skills. Now, you're already, the field is already in demand. Add to that AI, then you increase your value and increase the amount of money you can demand, because everything's negotiable. But however, when you see something like cybersecurity, that's a totally different ball game. All right. And we can talk a little bit about that in different broadcasts and things of that nature. But the exciting thing now is they're incorporating the AI with project management. If you learn this, your value increases. Now, the thing about being a project manager is that it's fun. I've not had a job where I didn't enjoy myself. I mean, there's always challenges and things of that nature, but I've always loved doing it because you meet so many interesting people. You're working on very interesting projects. Like I've worked on projects for HBO, for Netflix, for Dunkin' Donuts. I've worked on kids projects, kids commercials. What's that? There was a movie that recently came out. Cars. Yeah, they had Cars. I worked on that. So it's a lot of great projects. And as I talk about on my website, if you go to my website and check it out, you're working in a very creative arena. Typically, when we had the offices that you had to report to, the offices were very, very creative because there was this conscientiousness about work-life balance. So you could go to the company you're working for, and there'd be a pool table there, there'd be arcade games there, there'd be a giant screen so they can play movies while you're working. They want you to have fun. It's very creative. You're never dressing up in a suit or anything like that. In fact, it's the exact opposite. They want you to dress down and enjoy yourself, And one of the great things about a project manager, aside from learning to code or being cybersecurity in that field, is a project manager is the boss. You're calling the shots. You're picking your team. And you're putting a team together. You're disseminating the process to them. You are evaluating their work. You're giving them their reviews so they can get their merit increases or their pay increases. So that's the fun part. I like the part not only of the flexibility of the schedule, but the fact is I'm in charge. I don't have to have somebody coming looking over my shoulders and telling me what to do. I'm at a place now where they push go and everything starts. And you bring your flavor to this. Every project manager has a different way they work. As long as you communicate that to your team, you're golden, you're good. I like, for example, sending out status reports in the morning. Some project managers don't like doing that. They rather have a stand-up, what we call a stand-up. That's up to you and how you want to work. No one's going to question your approach. What they do question is results. And they don't even question that because if you're giving results, if you're doing results, there's no question. There's nothing for them to address. That's the most important thing at the end of the day. They're not concerned so much as how the work is done, but more so that it is accomplished. That is the main important thing. For example, if I'm only working 4 hours a day, but yet the website that I'm building is on schedule and on budget, that's all they really care about. You know what I mean? That's the important things to them. So where the other fields with cybersecurity and being a coder, you are going to have somebody looking over your shoulders. You are going to have somebody you have to report to. So it's a different arena. I'm not saying those are bad. I'm just saying that this field, as far as I'm concerned, is really an untapped gold mine. People don't realize it's out there because it's not actively publicized. While working in this field, I have worked next to millionaires and billionaires. I'm doing a commercial for this billionaire, Derek Stevens, and I'm sitting there with storyboards, and he's asking me my opinion of how he should sit at the bar. And I'm thinking to myself, wow, never would I in my wildest dreams have thought I'd be standing next to this billionaire and he's asking for my opinion on something. You know what I mean? And then, we're getting ready to set up and shoot. And the producer he's nice. He's like, hey, I know you want your girlfriend to be in this shot, so I'm gonna wait until she shows up. Of course, she was late, but he was nice enough to hold up. And when she got there, she's like, I can't go on. I'm all sweaty. I'm like, you're all right. So and the producer had her seat already. So she runs on the set, jumps in the seat, and then we start production. It was great. It was fun. But see, you don't have those things in your regular 9-to-5 corporate job. They don't care about you. In project management, they used to mirror a corporate world where you were just a number and they were pushing hard. But now 99% of that has changed. They value you as, and I'm going to use this term, and I'm going to introduce you to some of the people in my class. They see you as a subject matter expert. I once got a job, this is years ago, with one very popular agency, and they were doing the yearly rallies for Walmart and everything like that. And I remember I was trying to write a QA test plan, and I was stuck on something. So I called somebody in the department where we were talking, and she had laid it on me, and it really made me like wake up. And I was like, I don't know which way to approach. I said, this QA plus test plan, should I just go ahead and do the QA or do regression testing? And she says, Ron, they're going to look at you as a subject matter expert. Whatever you say, they'll do. And I was like, oh, yeah, that's right. That's right. I don't have to justify anything. I just have to like, hey, this is what we're doing. This is where we're going. And you guys follow along. So you are a leader. You're an expert in your field when you do this. And they're going to treat you like that. And your team is going to look to you for direction, and that can be sometimes scary because when I started out, I was a very reserved, passive guy. And I had to learn to, okay, I can't do it all myself. I've got to learn to give my team tasks, delegate. I wasn't good at that. I had to really speak up during meetings. I had to give presentations. And I was nervous. I was just so shy, man. I was like, oh, my God. But then I started to really get into the groove, and it was fun. And I saw, like how it changed me as a person. How in my personal life, I became more assertive, more confident. I demonstrate more leadership skills, especially with women. So it's a wonderful field because it has all of those benefits. Is there stress? Yeah, it's going to be some stress. But it's the good type of stress where you may be arguing with somebody over what color is better, or what shot looks good, and that type of, thing, So it's not the stress where you're calculating numbers and everybody's there. And there is politics, but nowhere near as much as what you'll find in traditional corporate America. I mean, I worked for what used to be called Payne Weber. I think they're UBS now. And I just couldn't take the politics. I had to leave. It was really ridiculous. So when I got into this field, there was less politics. And it's really more about just being a people person. They like the fact that you socialize, that you're easy to get along with. In fact, I had one interview for a position that came up recently, and I was a bit pissed at this interview. And all they wanted was to know how well I got along with the team. Because in the interview, they had all the team there, and they were asking me questions like, well, how would you motivate the team and all that? And they did not ask me anything about my technical knowledge, my knowledge of process. They just wanted to know how well I get along with the team, which was great. But, I wanted to big up my knowledge, and talk about all the experience I have. And they're just like, no, we just need to make sure you're okay and you really, mesh with the team. And speaking of team, I have two great people who take the class. I have Deshaun and I have Rashad. So say hi, guys.
Hi, everybody.
How's it going, everyone?
Rashad, I think you're on mute, are you?
No,
can
can you
hear
hear me?
I can't hear you.
I can hear him. Can you hear him?
Oh, I'm not sure.
That is weird.
How's it going, everyone? I'm not sure what's going on.
Can you hear him, Deshaun?
Yeah, I can hear him.
Say it again, Rashad. I'm sorry. Nope. Can you hear him, Deshaun?
No, I can't hear him. Now I can hear him. There you go.
Technical difficulties. We still can't hear you.
How about now, Ron?
Yeah.
Yeah, I can hear you now.
Okay, yeah, it was my earbuds. I'm not sure what was going on. Sorry about that.
No
Greetings,
problem.
everyone. My name is Rashad, and I'm a student in the six-figure PM class.
Cool. So we have Deshaun and Rashad. Now, they've been in the class for a little bit of a while now, and they were given a task. And this task was to create what we call the scope of work, a budget, and a schedule for a website build. Now, a scope of work basically is a document that outlines what the client wants. Okay. And traditionally, you would work with a account manager to flush that out. And the schedule will be done by the project manager as well as the budget. So we've already gone through with the students how to put these things together. And now it's Deshaun's time to show his work and for me to critique it. Now, what you may see or what you're going to see may look complicated, but it's not complicated at all. It's very easy to pick up. And it doesn't take a lot of time to put together. So, Rashad, let's see if you could share the scope of work that Deshaun did.
All right, can you see it, Ron?
Yes, we can.
All righty.
Wait, that's the wrong one. That's the wrong one, Rashad.
Okay, let me go to my email and check it out.
Hold on.
Okay, I'll download it again. This is the one that was in my email that you sent me, Deshaun.
Is that the right one, Deshaun?
Hold on, let me see. Nah, that's the wrong one. I'm gonna send him the right one.
Okay, go ahead. Now, this is an e-commerce website. So what we mean by basically e-commerce is a website that bottom line takes credit card transactions where you can go on there and you can purchase things. And e-commerce websites are a specialty in and of themselves, you know. Some project managers focus specifically on that, whereas other project managers don't. So, you know, it's something when you work on it, you'll decide for yourself if you like doing it. And if you do, you can let your recruiter know, hey, get me e-commerce, e-commerce jobs. I particularly, not that I like them or hate them, I don't get a lot of that comes my way. What I do get that comes my way and really pays a lot is pharmaceutical jobs. So I've worked a lot, for example, Pfizer. Pfizer has a ton of money. They're in the medical industry, and they pay they're very generous in terms of what they pay. The negative aspect to something like that is there's a lot of medical terms you need to be aware of. There's a lot of compliance issues. And the medical terminology and the compliance issues can be a bit boring. You know what I mean? So have we got the right document now?
You got to Rashad send it.
Yep.
Yeah.
This is it?
Yeah, that's it right there.
Okay, scroll down. Okay, so take us to the overview.
Okay, the project overview. The e-commerce website development project aims to create an online platform to sell products or services to customers through an intuitive and user-friendly website. The website will serve as a digital storefront, enabling customers to browse, search, purchase items conveniently from any location.
Continue.
Okay, design. Develop a visually consistent design that aligns your brand identity, including a logo, color scheme. Can I pronounce that word again?
Oh, typography.
Typography, yeah. And overall visual style. Create a clean, professional layout that reflects the nature of your products or services. Use high quality product images, multimedia elements to showcase products effectively. Create an engaging homepage that captures the attention of visitors, highlights key offerings or promotions. I think that's important right there. Include feature products, special offers, and a visually appealing hero image and carousel. That's another important one right there, I think.
Okay, keep going.
Features and functionality, how it's going to work. User registration and account management. Allow customers to create accounts, manage their profiles, track orders, and view order history. Product catalog and search. Display products or services with relevant information, including descriptions, prices, and images. Enable users to search and filter products based on various criteria. Okay, shopping cart and checkout process. Provide a seamless shopping cart experience, allowing customers to add, edit, and remove items before proceeding to secure checkout. Payment gateway integration. Integrate secure payment gateways to facilitate online transactions, including credit cards, PayPal, and other popular payment methods. Order management. Streamline order processing, tracking, and fulfillment, enabling efficient management of customer orders and providing updates on order status. I like that one right there. Inventory management. Enable real time inventory tracking, stock management, and automated notifications for low stock items to ensure smooth order fulfillment. Customer support and feedback. Provides customer support channels such as live chat, email, phone, and integrate a feedback mechanism for customers to provide ratings and reviews. Responsive design. Ensure your e-commerce website.
Rashad, can you give an insight as to what is responsive design?
Responsive would mean that the website is viewable on desktop, mobile, and tablet devices.
Okay, great. Go ahead, Rashad.
Ensure your e-commerce website is fully responsive and optimized for different screen sizes and devices, providing a seamless experience across desktop, mobile, and tablets. Design mobile-specific features and layouts to accommodate smaller screens and touch interactions. We go to testing. Conduct thorough testing across different browsers, devices, and user scenarios to ensure the design is functional, visually appealing, and user friendly. Collect user feedback and analytics data to identify areas for improvement and make interactive design and updates as needed. Launch and maintenance. Keep your e-commerce platform, contact management system, plugins, themes, and other software up to date. That this includes core software updates as well as security patches and bug fixes. Regularly update product information, prices, inventory, promotions to keep your website accurate and relevant. I like that. That's a good one. Implement security measures such as SSL certificates, firewalls, intrusion detection systems.
Sorry,
Yeah,
Deshaun.
yeah.
Rashad, can you explain what an SSL is? Rashad?
Yes, SSL is a certificate that secures payment information on websites that accept payments.
Okay, great. Go ahead. Sorry.
Mhm. And intrusion detective systems to protect customer data, payment transactions, website integrity. Now, the project assumptions at the end of it. We will be building an e-commerce website. The website will be expected to be launched on July
Wait.
1st.
Hold on a second. Rashad, can you explain sorry about that, what project
It's
assumptions
okay.
are? Can you explain what?
Project assumptions are things we assume to be true or not to be true when it comes to creating a website or something of anything
Now,
about.
this document will go back to the client and they'll sign off on it. Why is it important that we have these project assumptions?
Because it's lets the client know things we'll be doing or things we won't be doing. So it's kind of like a receipt.
Perfect. Yes, perfect. Okay, go ahead.
We will be building an e-commerce website. The website will be expected to be launched on July 1st. We provide an available Health Juices URL. Customer will purchase the URL. Client will purchase the URL. Client will host the site. The website will be built on CMS Shopify. The website will be responsive. The website will be able to be viewed on all browsers, but primarily on Firefox and Chrome. There will be no third-party applications. The website will contain 147 products, and each product will consist of one product page and two subpages. The client's art department will provide Fiverr. The website will have 15-second videos provided by the client. The website will have no downloadable files. The client will develop alt tags.
Awesome.
We will acquire an SSL certificate.
Now
Should I
just to
change
let you
that
know,
wording?
hold on a second, Deshaun.
Yeah.
In the document, we would never say we.
Yeah, I knew it was wrong.
if,
I knew it was wrong. When I was
if
writing,
the
I'm like,
company,
oh, this must be wrong.
if the company is like you working for like Acme, you will say Acme will acquire an SSL. That's what you would put down there.
Okay. All right. Website will need to be GDPR compliant after completion. Once client signs off, the scope of work will not increase without a change order request. Client will provide MP4 video files that the dev will plug into the website via CMS player. Client will provide Google Analytics that we will implement. The website will contain data capture via CMS of customer payments information. Client will provide a contact deck, including a copy that we will review and edit. Application will have cross functionality promotion with Facebook, Instagram, and Twitter. Client will provide a contact deck, including a copy that will review and edit. We will provide 30 days of training at an additional cost.
And also use the word support, so it's very clear on that. You know what I mean?
Yeah. Yeah,
Okay,
most definitely.
cool. Continue.
All right, conclusion that this project aims to create a high quality e-commerce website with a comprehensive product catalog, easy to use shopping cart and checkout system, and secure, reliable shipping and fulfillment processes. The website will be designed to provide customers with a seamless shopping experience while also being optimized for search engines to ensure maximum visibility. With a $250,000 budget and a July 1st launch date, this project will be completed on time within budget, providing a valuable asset for the business and its customers. This scope of work is contingent upon the client providing all information that is needed. If certain information isn't provided on time, as indicated by the project plan, it will be pushed. It will push the launch date back. See project plan for details.
Perfect. Excellent. I like that. That was very good. Thank you so much,
Thank
man. That
you.
was excellent. So what's the next document we have?
I think it's a project plan next.
So great. If you can get that ready for pulling up, Rashad. So what Deshaun did was basically outline how he and his team will approach the building of the site. And this includes what we called was the assumptions, meaning what we will do and what we won't do. And as he outlined, the cost that we're charging for the build of the site is $250,000. And the date that we're going to launch is July 1st. So this document, which we call as a SOW or scope of work, really outlines all the details in terms of the approach, important dates, any third parties we'll be working with, any requirements that the client may have, all written down. And then once this document is approved by the project manager and his account manager, so he works with an account manager, it will be presented to the client to sign off on. And then once the client signs off on it, work can begin. Now, the next thing that we would present to the client is an actual schedule. And the schedule outlines, the important key dates of the build and what we'll be doing. So let's take a look at this schedule here. So Deshaun, can you take us through this?
Yeah. First we have planning, the task name planning. First we have to develop the scope of work, which could be done in, I put like 1 day for it. It will be like the PM and the account manager work on it as a resource name. I should have put that.
Wait, just tell us what phase we're in now. Give us the phase.
Planning, we're in planning. Okay. As the phase. And then after the scope of work, we create the timeline and budget, because without the scope of work, we can't really get to the timeline and budget yet. Can't move on with anything. So that would take about 1 day to create those. So I put 1 day for that. Then we have to do the creative brief, which is like the images and the fonts and stuff like that. So I put 1 day for that. And then we give the scope of work to the client to review 1 day. And once he approved, then we move on to internal kickoff meeting and we discuss roles and responsibilities after that.
With your team, right?
Yeah, with my team. Yeah.
Excellent. Keep going.
Now, like after we discuss roles and responsibilities, we move on to design, which is copy, which the copy document, we receive that, and then we do an internal meeting on that. So that takes 1 day. So I gave 10 days to copy because there's a lot of copies, like 147 pages. So I gave 2 weeks, which is like 10 days. And then we do the internal review with the team. That should take about 1 day. Then revisions, any mistakes, that should take about the day. I gave 2 days for client to review because there's so many pages for copy.
Yeah. You can give them longer. You can actually give them. Remember, we said 2 days is the minimum, so you can give them like 3 or 4 days.
Okay. And based on the revisions from the client review, I give us 1 day, and after we review that, we have to give it back to the client for a final approval. And once he approved that, then we move on to the next phase, which is the UX wireframes.
Okay, keep going.
So create the wireframes.
Just for everybody's knowledge, when we say UX, it's user experience. And this is basically what the user does on the site. this has to be outlined by a user experience person, and that's a very, very refined field. And if anybody wants to focus on that, they can go into that area, and it pays pretty well too. Okay, I'm sorry. Continue.
Yeah. So the next phase we move on to UX wireframes. So I gave about 5 days, which like a whole week to create the wireframes. Once we create the wireframes, we have to review with the team. I gave us a day. Then once we review, then we go to revisions. Gave us 1 day for that. Then the client review of wireframes. That should take about a day. So I gave a client a day for that. And then based on revisions based on client review, I gave us half a day for that. I think it shouldn't take us that long to review that. And final client review for approval, I gave a half a day for that.
Okay, remember what I said in the previous class? At the
Yeah.
minimum, the client gets 2 days for review, never
Okay.
1 day. Never
Another
1
1
day.
day. Okay. All right.
Yeah, go on.
So the sitemap is the next phase. So I gave
Now
five.
the site map, sorry, is basically what it sounds like. It's a map of all the pages on the website so that you can tell what's going to be built and what's not going to be built. And that gives you overarching view of it. It's called a site map. Okay, go ahead.
Yeah. So the next phase we create the sitemap. I gave us about 5 days, a whole week to do that. And then once we create the sitemap, we move on to another internal meeting for the sitemap, which I gave us a day. And then after that, we revisions, any mistakes, anything, do that. And then do client review. We send it to the client for review. I gave him 2 days for that. I think that. And then based on the client reviews, we make revisions. I gave us 1 day, and then final client review and approval 1 day.
Excellent, excellent.
Yeah. So the next phase is development when we start building a website. Develop website. I gave us a whole 2 weeks, 10 days.
That's great.
And then we do the internal review of the website since there's so many pages and rebuilding the whole website. It gave us 2 days to review. 2 days for revisions. Then we move on to client review of the website, hand it over to the client, gave them 2 days. And then once we get it back, we get to next is revision based on client reviews. I gave us 1 day, and a final client review and approval I gave us 2 days. Gave the client 2 days.
Okay, great.
Yeah. So now we almost off and kicking, almost. So we move on to the next phase, which is QA and
So
launch.
QA is short for quality assurance. So this is where we're basically testing the website.
So the first thing is we migrate site to staging. So the reason why we're doing that is because when we're building a website, we rebuilding on the development stage. So we have to move on to staging. That's the next stage. So next we do internal QA on the staging. Then next I gave us 3 days for that. Debugging revisions, 3 days for that. Client review of site on staging, I gave them 1 day.
Remember, we never give the client 1 day. Never
gave them 2. Yeah, that one I made a mistake on that. Debugging revisions, I should have gave us more time for that. I don't know why I put half a day.
No, yeah.
Yeah, I don't know why I put that.
So let's put out 2 days for that. You made
Yeah, I should have gave more days. I don't know why I put that.
That's
Final,
all right.
yeah. Final client review on staging for launch, I gave us 1 day.
Okay.
So next stage is finally production. So we upload the site on client production servers because again, in the scope of work, the client says he's going to host the site.
Good. Yeah.
So I gave us half a day for that. Regression testing gave us a whole day.
Perfect. That's great. You did that.
Mm-hmm.
I would give us 2 days, but at least you got the regression testing in there.
Yeah.
I would give us 2 days just in case, but that's all right.
Yeah. And next we launch. And then once we launch, we still do like one more QA just to be sure. So I gave us a whole day for that, and the completion. Yeah, that's it. Yeah.
Final on paper. So this is really beautiful. This is good, but you made two major mistakes.
Yeah.
Okay. So let's go over it. You always give the client 2 days.
Mm-hmm.
And sometimes you need to give them more time because if they're reviewing a lot of pages, you may need to give them 3 or 4 days.
Yeah.
But it's always a minimum of 2 days. Okay?
Okay.
Now go up because this is a big mistake here. You see, keep going. Keep going. You see where you said you have design?
Yeah.
Where's design? You have to design the site.
Yeah.
You have UX, but where's your design? This is where your designer, your art director comes in and starts doing the Photoshop design.
Yeah.
So you missed the entire stage.
Yeah.
Okay. And that's led by the art director. Okay.
Okay.
So basically he's taken the style guide that was given to him by the client, and then he starts designing the homepage, the sub pages, but that happens after the wireframes. Okay.
Okay. Yeah.
So
Okay.
keep that in mind. So let's move on here. So that was actually really good. He was not only did he do a good job in building that schedule, but he was able to articulate the reasoning and rationale behind why he included certain tasks and line items. And that's important because the client will ask, well, why do we have this there? Why do we need this? And he was able to explain it adequately enough, saying, well, we're going to need regression testing to test it because we moved to the productions or, things like that. So that's perfect, because clients, they will challenge you. They'll ask you the big questions, and you got to be able to really just stick by your guns and answer them, Some clients are carefree. They're like, okay, that's great. Other clients will nitpick at certain things. So you just gotta be ready, and you gotta be fluid. Remember, we're dealing with a field that's all about personalities. I've had clients who I've had fun with. I go on to lunch. We hang out on the weekends. I had other clients that things were so bad, I asked to be taken off the project. I can't work with this client. They don't know what they're doing. They're putting too much pressure. It's just ridiculous, So one of the things about being a project manager, you're going to be working with a recruiter. And every person you see here is going to have a recruiter. And I talk to the recruiters at least twice a week. And I talk to them about what's going on in the market, what's in demand, and things of that nature. And I even talk to them about my students so they know what these guys are doing, how they're progressing, and everything like that. So when these students graduate from the class, they're immediately given a recruiter. I put them in contact with a recruiter, and that recruiter starts to look for work for them. And the great thing is they're not going to have to look for a long time because I've already prepped the recruiters by talking about each one of these students, their strengths, their weaknesses, things of that nature. So the recruiter knows. So, and they have jobs lined up. And that also as well is a personality thing. If a recruiter likes you, they'll start sending you a lot of job offers, especially those that are high paying. If a recruiter is lukewarm, they'll, send you one job here and there. So again, it's all about rapport. You know what I mean? This is not your typical jobs that many of you are used to in corporate America. This is a totally different animal, and you have to get used to that and understand that. You know what I mean? All right. So the next thing a project manager is responsible for is the budget. So Deshaun has been kind enough to, we call it scope out the budget for this particular e-commerce website.
Yeah. This one was a struggle. Like I tried my hardest with this one. Like try to understand this one. Yeah, this is it. Yeah, this is right here. So the rate I have for the account manager $300. The hours
that's $300 an hour, right? Just be very clear on that.
Yeah.
$300 an hour. That account manager gets paid $300 an hour. Okay.
And the hours that the account manager worked was 80.
No. Deshaun.
Yeah.
Again, you're a project manager. Say the terminology. The
Yes.
hours that I'm giving the account manager is 80. Okay.
Yeah. So the hours I'm giving the account manager is 80, and that
Okay.
totals up to $24,000.
Okay.
The PM myself, I'm giving myself the hourly rate for me is $250, and the hours I gave to myself is 85, and that comes up to $21,250. The DV, which is the developer, his hourly rate is $200, and I'm giving him 56 hours, so that comes up to $11,200. The copywriter hourly rate is $150, and I'm giving him 104 hours, and that comes up to $15,600.
Okay.
The UX person hourly rate is $156, and I gave him 196 hours, which came up to $32,174,000. And the art director hourly rate is $175. I gave him 132 hours, and I came up to $23,100. $23,100.
Hmm.
The QA person hourly rate is $2,500, and I gave the QA 60 hours, which comes up to $13,500, and that totals up to $109,000, $109,000, $174.58.
Hmm.
And I think we're supposed to subtract the
Well,
budget.
don't worry about that. You came
Yeah,
under. You came under 250,000, right?
yeah,
So the rest is just going to be like profit. You know what I mean?
yeah,
If you can build the site for everything here,
yeah,
that's great. That's wonderful. So, and also you have buffer. So if you go over hours,
yeah,
you still have money left. You know what I mean to
yeah.
burn.
Oh, that's
So that,
good. Yeah,
yeah, that's great. So you're not supposed to be worried about having the number come close to 250.
yeah.
Because
Okay, okay.
your
Yeah.
finance person is just going to add a high margin.
Oh,
So
okay.
that's all they're going to do is going to say, well, we're going to have more money that we can keep.
Yeah,
So your goal is just to come in with realistic numbers of what it would take to build this website. You know what I
yeah,
mean? Not to try and come to the 250, but realistic numbers.
yeah.
So if you hand in a budget like this to finance and to the account manager, you make everybody happy. They'll be like, they would love you. You know what I
Yeah.
mean? They're like, oh, we love you, man. Just make sure at the end of the day it comes to that number.
Oh yeah,
Don't go overboard. Like
yeah,
don't and of course you would have all your people sign off on this, right? Your account people, your copywriter say, listen, this is the hours I'm giving you. Don't you dare go over. You know what I mean? Some people will go over.
Yeah,
But you have buffer, so you're covered. You know what I mean?
yeah,
What would scare me if you did come to 250? I'm like, okay, so that means you have no room for error. There's no margin for error. You know what I
yeah.
mean?
We have to be almost like perfect with it.
Yeah,
Yeah,
that would kind of scare
yeah.
me. You know, so
Okay.
you have to get worried with that. So that is a process. How did you find this exercise? Was it hard? Was it easy? How did you find it?
I mean, it was hard for me because my first time, and it's like all the jobs that I had before, like including right now, is like physical labor jobs. So like transferring over to like white collar is like it's different. Like
Yeah.
and using like Word document, Excel. I never really used those things before. The last time I used it was like in high school, so it was a little bit difficult trying to like relearn like Excel and Word document stuff like that.
Oh,
But
okay.
it was fun though. At the same time, it was fun.
Yeah. And to be honest with you, if you include like the design and you polish some stuff up, you got it. This is what the core of the project management is about.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
Thank you.
We're not hiding anything. That's the core of it, you know?
Yeah.
Just understand it's that and the rest is what? what's the rest?
The soft skills.
Yeah, personality.
Yeah.
Yes,
Yeah.
And I'm telling you, it could be a big thing because sometimes you'll get on a team and there's really serious personality clashes.
Yeah.
I've had those, and it's a real not good thing, especially when you're halfway through the project.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? The danger that you need to be aware of is getting on a project. And I talked to the recruiter earlier this week about that. We were talking about this. And the client doesn't know what they want. And then you're like, uh-oh.
Yeah. Yeah.
Because that is a potential for disaster. Because they'll tell you one thing, you write the SOW, they'll change their mind, and then keep changing their mind, and then you blow your budget.
Right.
You know what I mean? You want a client that is just very focused. They know what they want. You can capture it in your scope of work. You can have them sign off on it, and you can start. But I have been with some disastrous clients that every day, every morning I walked in, it was a new functionality they wanted, a new page they wanted.
Yeah.
And it was just so annoying because then you have to go, all right, I got to rescope that out. I got to get approval on the hours for that. And it's just a pain in the neck.
Yeah.
And what I did was I had actually called a meeting with that client. I said, listen, you can't just go out there and surf the web at night and come in the next morning and decide you saw something you like and you want us to incorporate it. That's not, we'll never get the project done if you keep doing that.
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah. Right.
So you've got to determine right here and now what you want. And then after that, there's nothing else we're going to do. That's it.
Yeah.
Anything else you want us to do will happen when? Rashad?
When you put in a change order request.
No. Anything else you want us to do after that happens when?
Anything you want us to do after we start the project
Yeah.
will happen during
In phase 2.
Okay, right. Second, right.
Yeah.
Phase 2. Because we'll do a phased approach to this. If you do a change order, you can do a change order with a client like that. They'll keep submitting stuff and you'll keep doing change orders and you'll never start the project. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
And you'll find yourself having a hard time keeping track of all those change orders.
Yeah.
Right.
And this way you say, listen, we'll do a phase 2 so we can get moving. And all this other stuff you want, keep coming up with ideas. We'll just put that in the file for phase 2 and even phase 3. This way you get the project moving and you don't have to worry about tracking, change orders. Now, change orders are good for a client who just wants 1 or 2 different things changed. That's cool. We can do that. We'll put a change order. But if they're coming back with a multitude of changes, you got, we can't do. We got to get this moving, or else we'll never make our launch date. So.
Yeah.
And also, here's one of the most important points. When you allocate hours to your team and you tell the team that site has to work or launch on July 1st, the reason you don't want continual change orders to come in, and if the client says, that's all right, we can move beyond July 1st, your team may not be available after that. You understand?
Yeah.
They have other projects they need to jump on.
Right.
So after July 1st, everybody's going to be jumping on other projects.
Yeah.
You got to tell the client, listen, no, you've got to give us exact requirements, exact launch date, and we got to stick by that because my team is not going to be available if you keep changing things. Because they're already, the minute you present your SOW, and you get it signed off and you present it to the internal team, a person who's called resources will look at the team's availability and they will say, oh, okay, John, your website launches July 1st and after that you're available. So on July 2nd, I'm going to put you on the Coca-Cola website.
Yeah.
So your UX person, the resources is going to say, oh, your website's launching on July 1st. After that, I'm going to put you on Dolce and Gabbana. and they're not going to be available anymore. So if your client keeps coming with changes, you're going to have to get a whole new team with a whole new rate card.
Yeah.
And what if this team is not a good team? And the worst thing is inconsistencies. Because once the artwork is done and you have that art director has to leave and a new art director comes aboard, this new art director probably has a different visual approach, a different visual style that's going to mess up everything. And the site is not going to look consistent.
Right.
You know what I mean? That's going to mess up
That's
everything.
interesting. Yeah.
Yeah. So you have to be very, very careful of that. And another thing is, if you have new team members coming aboard, well, you got to brief them now on what the project is about. You got to sit down and explain to them, okay, this is the e-commerce website, 147 pages, and that's going to be exhausting, you know? You don't want to have to go through that because, you know, and they're going to ask for that. They can say, listen, I can't start your project until I get a download, you know?
So are we safe to tell that client no at the end of the day?
No, you can't tell them no. Remember, you can never.
You could never tell them no. Yeah.
You can only present them with options.
Right.
You know what I'm saying? So your option is, if you want to keep changing the requirements, we do a phase rollout approach.
Yeah.
There you go.
Got it. Yeah.
So keep that in mind. Any other questions you guys have?
Not
No,
for
this
now.
is a great class, Ron. I appreciate you letting us go live. I know we're a tad bit nervous, but we're trying to.
Yeah.
You were a tad bit nervous.
Yeah, I was nervous.
You know how many clients I have presented for?
Right.
Right.
You see my gray hairs?
A personality type. That's what you always stress. So
do you see all the lovely women I couldn't make love to? Because so once you get a couple of presentations under your belt, it gets easier. Right. You know what I mean? And the great thing is, now I will guarantee you this: your account manager is going to be on that call with you, and your creative director, and they're not going to let you fall. If you get stumble on something, they're going to jump in to help you, because it's all about teamwork. Your account manager will have your back, and he or she is going to expect you to have their back. You know what I mean? Mm-hmm. So just I mean, I've been on client calls where client was arguing, and I come in and say, you know what? I agree with Lisa, my account manager. I think that this approach is, you know, that's how you stand firm. Client says, well, we want to be able to give you requirements, you know, throughout the project. Your account manager says that's not a good idea. And you chime in and say, I agree with her. You see how you stand together as a team in agreement. You never disagree with each other on a live call to the client. You always put up that wall and agree with each other. You know what I mean? Because it could be disaster if one person agrees with the client, another person doesn't agree with the client. You don't do that. That's terrible. You got to make sure that you are all. And one of the things that I've seen happen, it's not a big issue, but just be aware of it. Let's say, for example, you finish the SOW and you're going to present it to the client. Everyone on your team should have read that SOW before they get on that call. Because if the client starts bringing stuff up and some members of your team haven't read it, it's going to be embarrassing. You know what I mean? So talk to your team before you have that call to the client. Say, hey, did you read that SOW? You know?
Yeah. All right.
Make sure you read that SOW, because that client is going to catch you with something. You know what I mean? Do not answer questions that are not within your wheelhouse. What I mean, if the client is saying, you know, does the UX have to do a sitemap and wireframes? Let your UX person answer that. I mean, you could, but let them answer it. Mm-hmm. You know, that's their job. you know.
Right.
So yeah, keep that in mind, um, like for, and same thing with account questions, same things with development questions, well, do we really have to do this site in Shopify? Let your developer answer that question. Of course, you could answer it, but you're still learning, and you also you want them to speak on an issue while they're on the phone. Okay, so they can answer all the client's questions, because Deshaun, you brought up a good question. There's going to be a lot of calls where your entire team will not be on the phone.
Okay. Yeah.
Because that's too expensive.
Yeah.
So the SOW, you typically would have the SOW review. You typically would have your entire team there.
Okay.
That's why you have the clients answer the questions there and have your team answer them.
Okay.
Like for example, the client may ask, Deshaun, are there different colors for desktop and mobile? Do they each get different colors, or is it all the same color? You have your art director answer that question. They're the best person to chime in. All right. So any other questions?
Yes. How many pages does it got to be for it to be more than 2 days?
I kind of don't understand your question, but I kind of do. So if it's one, the answer to that question is this, right? If it's 147 pages, 147 products, it's actually going to be 147 pages, right? So I would go to my copywriter and say, how many days you need to develop copy for 147 pages, right? And then you have a discussion with them on how long you should give the client time to review. Your copywriter might say, let's give them 3 days for review, So you make it you go to your team about that kind of question, Does that make sense to answer your question?
Yes.
It's like coding, right? Obviously, HTML5 is quicker to code than Cold Fusion. But I would still go to my developer and say, how much time do you think you need for a Cold Fusion build?
Right.
You know what I mean? He may say, I need 3 weeks at the minimum.
Yeah.
And then you go, fine, I'll give you 2 weeks. That type of thing. So I would ask the team and say, how much time should we give the client for this? And they'll usually tell you, because the copywriter may be giving you copy with a lot of spaces. So that's not too difficult to read. You know what I mean? So she may say, oh, just give the client the standard 2 days. You know what I mean? Yeah. Okay, good. So that was a good question, Everett. Any other questions?
That's it. Appreciate it, Ron.
That's it. Yeah.
Okay, great work. One final comment on Deshaun's work. At SOW, you should ask the agency if they have an SOW template, because that should not be just in a blank Word document. That should be on the company's template.
Okay.
Whenever you're presenting anything for the client, you have to be on the letterhead of the company.
Okay.
All right.
Yeah.
And then another thing, last thing is, once you write your SOW, Deshaun, Everett, Rashad, what I do is I send it to copy for them to proofread it. You don't want
that's interesting.
You don't want any grammatical errors, no misspellings. Have copy proofread it.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
All right, guys. And all of you out there, thank you so much for joining us. This is Kasak Ma Kaparu, son of Ma and Tahuti. My aunt is the beautiful goddess Hetheru. And if you don't forget, if you want to join the 6 Figure PM program, The link is below. So get that link, join, and start making the big bucks, man. Start making the big bucks. Take care.
All right.